Hi, this is Jim Mann with Homestyle Southern Cooking. Thanks for having me back in. As most of y'all know, I live in Merida in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. It's up in the point. Where I live is sort of the center of the Mayan world. 2 hours away, I have Chichen Itza. About 45 minutes, I have Uxmal. About 30 minutes, I have Tun. So there are cenotes and there are Mayan ruins all over the place here. Uxmal is my favorite. It's incredible. The Mayans and the Aztecs were the first people to take the cocoa bean and actually develop chocolate. And of course, it spread across the world. Can you imagine today without chocolate in our lives? But cocoa beans, then they made a chocolate drink out of it, but it was only for the priest, it was only for the kings, the rulers, or anybody of high society. So today we're going to make a Mayan chocolate pie. This is a no-cook pie, and I'm going to use the chocolate graham cracker crust. So let's get started. I'm going to end on our pie, and I'm sure this is one that you'll want to try. First of all, I've got my kitchen aid here, and I've got 1 cup of butter. I want to make sure I get all this butter out of here. Now this is a very important step I'm doing right now. Then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. Now, I'm going to put this on here and I'll probably come back to you because I'm going to actually let this beat for at least 10 to 15 minutes because I want it to be almost like a hard peak, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start it and I'll come back to you once it has peaked up. Okay, I actually set my timer and I actually set the timing for 12 minutes on this. And if you can see, this is almost like a paste, it's beat. And one of the reasons why I'm doing that because I want to make sure the sugar and the butter is all incorporated so you don't get a gritty taste in it, okay? So I've got that part done. And I forgot to tell y'all that Merida was probably one of the biggest Mayan civilizations in the Mayan world. But when the Spanish conquered Mexico, Paso de Montejo had Merida completely leveled, the whole Mayan settlement, probably one of the biggest ones there was. And every stone was used to build the Capitol building here and his home and everything. So it's a real shame, that's why we're a hub. But anyhow, what I'm gonna do next is I've got 3/4 cups of Mayan cocoa, okay? I'm gonna put it in here. Now, if I wanted to, I could have gotten the Mayan chocolate bars, the cocoa, and I could have grated them till I had 1 cup. But this was simpler for me today. To this, I'm gonna add, I got 3/4 cups of cocoa, and I've got 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Now I'm gonna take, and this is another process, so it's gonna probably take me a few minutes, because I want to stir this until I get this completely smooth and it looks like a syrup. So let me get this all stirred up and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, as you can see, this is all stirred up. It's a beautiful syrupy consistency. And I'm going to wipe all this off. And I'm going to actually put this in my mixer with my sugar and my butter. I want to make sure I get all this delicious chocolate out of here. If you've never tasted real Mayan chocolate, if you ever come to Mexico, make sure that you get some Mayan chocolate. They have different levels of 70% cocoa, 90% cocoa, and they have just, milk chocolate too, but they have some that's real tart, that's pure chocolate, and it's absolutely delicious, okay? Okay, I'm gonna put this in here, and I'm gonna do pretty much the same thing as I did with the other one. I'm gonna let this mix for at least, I'm gonna say 8 minutes, and I'm gonna time it, and then I'll be back to you. Okay, I timed this and it's actually been 8 minutes. Even my mixer's even getting warm. It's actually been 8 minutes in here. So I'm going to scrape this down again. Now, okay, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to add 4 eggs. Now, this is not a recipe that we cook, so these are raw eggs. In the States and other places, you can buy pasteurized eggs, okay? And you know that they're safe. People use them at Christmas for making eggnog. You don't use cooked eggs. I love eggnog, and I like to make it every year for Christmas. So if you want to make sure that you have pasteurized eggs, you can make your own. Or if you know the chickens, like I know my chickens eat better than I do. They get fresh yogurt, they get cabbage, they get all this fresh stuff every week, okay? But what I did earlier is I took these 4 eggs and I put them in a pan with water, covered them with water, and I let the temperature come up to 140. I have a candle thermometer. I stood there with it to 140. And I regulated the pan and the heat so it stayed at 140 for 3 minutes. Now when I crack these open, like this one, I know that this egg is going to be pasteurized because it is cooked. You can see the white there, it started to cook. That's a pasteurized egg. So that means any salmonella, anything like that is gone. So I'm going to add 1 egg at a time in here. So if you want to know how to do pasteurized eggs, that's how you do it. So let's turn this one on just for a few minutes, get that all mixed up. I'm going to stop it. There's another one I'm going to add. But it's good to know because, like I said, I love eggnog. And at Christmas time, especially if you're in the country or somewhere where you don't know where the eggs have been or where the chickens have been, it's good to know how to pasteurize your eggs, okay? Now I'm going to add a 3rd one. And like I said, I know where my chickens have been and I know what they eat, so I didn't have to do this. But a lot of people feel more secure if their eggs are pasteurized. Okay, now I'm going to actually turn this on and let this beat for 4 minutes, and then I'll be back to you for the last step. Okay, this has been beating for exactly 2 minutes. I timed it, and it's been 2 minutes. So now, I'm going to take this off. Now I'm going to leave it on for a few seconds. I'll leave it on there. What I'm going to do next is I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla I'm going to put in there. And then I've got cinnamon. I've got 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. The first time I came to Mexico and ordered coffee in the morning, I said, what? Because I love my coffee, they put cinnamon in it. And everywhere in Mexico, they use a lot of cinnamon on a lot of different things. So cinnamon is a really spice they use a lot. And then I've got 1 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. This to give it spice. Okay, put that in there. Make sure I get that off the sides there. And I'll put this in here and I'm going to let this blend for about a minute. Okay, I just let this, it went for maybe a minute, just so I make sure it was all mixed in well incorporated. And now we'll take this off. Like I said, I've got a graham cracker crust here. I bought that. I could make my own if I wanted to with some chocolate cookies, but I just decided to save time. And I'm going to pour this into the shell. You know, the Mayans were incredible people with the calendar, the medicines they had. They were so far ahead of their time that I have the utmost respect for the Mayans and the culture. And I'm so fortunate that I have got to spend the last 20 years here being in a place where the culture is so rich and just so full. Okay, I'm going to put this in my refrigerator for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back to you, and then we'll do the final step. our Mayan chocolate pie has been sitting for about a half an hour in the refrigerator, and it's all set up. It looks wonderful. But while you were away, I decided to make a chocolate sauce to go on it. What I did is I took 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of the Mayan chocolate, mixed that together in here, and I kept it on a low heat the whole time I was doing this. Then I put about 2 tablespoons of milk and then some powdered sugar, and I kept on adding the powdered sugar till I got it to this consistency. If you look and see, this is almost like a fudge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this. I hate to waste any of this chocolate. I'm going to take this and I'm going to just sort of drizzle this back and forth on my Mayan pie here. I cannot wait to try this. Okay, and then if I was going to serve it, I would probably put a little bit of chocolate on the plate. Make it a little swirly on here. Okay. All right, now is the true test. And we'll go ahead and cut our pie. It'd probably be better if it's set in the refrigerator for about another half an hour, but I want y'all to see because it's still soft inside. But we're going to cut it anyhow because I'm dying for a piece of this pie. Yeah, I should have left it in the refrigerator for about another half an hour, okay? But I didn't, so anyhow. But there it is, there's a Mayan chocolate pie. I hope you'll try this. Like I said, you probably should have set up for another half an hour. That, my friends, is pure heaven. Wow. The chocolate is so rich, and you can taste a little bit of that cayenne pepper. It's a little spicy. Really, really good. So our Mayan pie is a real winner. You need to try this. Wow, it really kicks in. Thank you so much for following me on Facebook and subscribing to me on YouTube. I appreciate your support more than you ever know. I look at each one of y'all as my family and my friends, and I love telling you stories about where I live in the Yucatan and the different things that I've done here and about my family. The Yucatan is an incredible place to come and visit. Merida is an incredible colonial city. I hope that you'll come sometime, and if you come, let me know when you're coming. I'd like to have a cup of coffee with you. Until next time, this is Jim in Mexico saying you take care of yourself and know that I really care about you. Until next time, God bless.